The 5-year-old girl lay in her bed, her eyes struggling to stay open as she fought against sleep. It was late at night, and the darkness of her room was nearly absolute. But as she lay there, she noticed something moving in the upper bunk across the room. At first, she thought it was just a trick of the shadows, but then she saw it, a black portal opening up, almost invisible against the darkness of the room. And then, slithering out of the portal, came a reptilian creature. The little girl felt a chill run through her body as she saw the creature's beautiful golden scales, shimmering in the darkness. But even as she admired the creature's beauty, she felt a deep sense of dread and malevolence emanating from it, like a wave of black energy filling her room. As the reptilian locked eyes with the little girl, she watched in horror as the stuffed animals on the top bunk began to move of their own accord, as if animated by some unseen force. The little girl knew she had to get out of there, and fast. With a surge of fear-fueled adrenaline, the little girl jumped out of bed and ran down the hallway, looking back over her shoulder as she fled. To her terror, she saw the reptilian creature writhing and slithering down the bunk bedpost, chasing her with unnatural speed. The reptilian was enraged that she was trying to escape. The little girl stumbled and fell, cartwheeling head over feet down the stairs until she slammed into a closed door at the bottom. The little girl's world was consumed by darkness as she crashed into the door, her head taking the brunt of the impact. She felt a sharp pain in her skull, and then everything went black. When she came to, she was no longer in her house. She was lying on a cold metal table, surrounded by bright lights that blinded her. As her eyes adjusted, she saw that she was in a strange room, filled with bizarre machines and instruments that she had never seen before. And then, standing over her, was the beautiful reptilian. It hissed at her, and she could feel the malevolent energy emanating from it once again. The creature began to communicate, but it was not in a language she could understand. It sounded like hissing whispers, cold and harsh. It was consuming the little girl's mind. Although she could not understand the reptilian's language, the girl knew what was coming next. The little girl struggled to move, but she was bound to the metal table by restraints that held her down. She tried to scream for help, but her voice was weak and her throat was dry. The reptilian leaned over her, and she could feel its breath on her face. Its eyes seemed to glow with a sickly yellow light as it reached out and touched her forehead with a cold, metallic object. As the little girl screamed in terror, the reptilian implanted a tracking device in her brain, its sharp metallic tendrils burrowing deep into her skull. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the creature vanished, leaving the little girl alone in the cold, sterile room. When she woke up again, she was lying at the bottom of the stairs in her house. Her parents had found her there the following morning. They had no memory of the events that had transpired the night before. They thought she had simply fallen down the stairs and hit her head moments before they found her. But the little girl knew the truth. She knew that she had been taken by the reptilian creature and implanted with a tracking device. And she knew that the creature would come back for her, again and again, for the little girl's precious lush. And as the years went by, the little girl grew up with a terrible fear of the dark, haunted by the memory of that night and the reptilian creature that had taken her. She could never escape the feeling that it was watching her, tracking her every move, waiting for the right moment to strike again.